What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Roundtable. My name's Josh. I'm here with Dylan. I'm here with Pete. Today, we're going to talk about the college football playoff. First off, Dylan, what are your thoughts as a whole on the college football playoff?
I think right now we're seeing the teams that deserve it start falling in line. Throughout the year, you've seen, people complain about four being not enough teams, and just like that, we're seeing four looks like it's going to turn out to be the right amount of teams with Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, and then either Alabama or Oklahoma State, depending on how the SEC championship goes.
I agree, Pete. What are you thinking?
I think we could bump it up to a 16 playoff, and I think that because we need to give these number 5 and number 6 teams, who you could almost always make an argument for being in the playoff, a chance to go in, and then you incentivize teams finishing first and second because they get a bye in that situation. I think it just gives more teams a chance, and you never know what's going to happen. I think a number 6 team could potentially win the national title if you give them a chance.
No, I agree. I was thinking 8 would be a good spot to jump up to, but let's talk about the 4 that we have for now. First off, the rankings came out yesterday. Michigan jumped to the number 2 spot, went from number 5 to number 2. Dylan, what do you think about that?
I absolutely think it's deserved. Beating Ohio State was the most impressive win last week. And look at who you're jumping. You're jumping Cincinnati, who 100% deserves the playoff spot, but strength of schedule much lower than Michigan, and Alabama, who has not been impressive all year. And I would argue they don't even belong in the college football playoff, but that's another question.
Yeah, so we'll get into that here in a little bit. But the thing I'm worried about, Michigan, they're 1-1 this year against top 25 teams. They may lose to Iowa. Iowa isn't bad, but if they do, they go 2-1 this year against top 25 teams. Why did they deserve to jump 3 spots? Because that'd be a 2 versus 3 matchup. Alabama's there right now. Don't think they'll stay there. But why did they jump 3 spots? Even their strength of schedule isn't that good this year. Only really good win is against a okay Ohio State team.
Well, their strength of schedule is still better than Alabama and Cincinnati, who are 33 and 96 respectively. I think Michigan, they've proven themselves as a powerhouse team. They're 11-1, same record as Alabama. They won the game. It's been one of the biggest games this season, and they showed up when it mattered. I think they're fully deserving of that 2 spot, as Dylan said.
Okay, so we've all talked about Alabama. Everyone's been talking about Alabama. So going into this weekend, betting-wise, they're plus 200 on the money line. That means they'd have to pull off an upset to beat Georgia. If you look at the Vegas lines for them to make the college football playoffs are minus 190, that means they're a favorite right now. Do you think there's any chance that even if they lose in a close game to Georgia this weekend, that they could stay in the top 4?
I do, and I don't think that's deserved, but I do think that's based on how the college football playoff chooses teams. They might do it because they put Alabama on a pedestal. But if you look at what they've done this year, they don't deserve it. This is the weakest Alabama team we've seen in a while. Look at what they've done. They almost lost to LSU by 1, almost lost to Arkansas at home, should have lost to Auburn last week. And then you lose to an A&M team that's proven to not be quite as good as we thought it was. So if they lose to Georgia, I think they have no business being in, especially because that'll knock out either Cincinnati or Oklahoma State.
No, I kind of agree with that. So we got Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. Those are the 2 teams that could possibly jump them if Alabama loses this weekend. But if you go look who they played this year, OSU, so Oklahoma State, they played close with Tulsa, Missouri State, Boise State, Kansas State, Texas, and they lost to Iowa State. They haven't, they've looked good, don't get me wrong, but I think if they matched up against Alabama, Alabama would beat them. And the way that it seems the last 4 or 5 years that the college football playoff has looked at it, they're always going to take those top dogs, which would be Alabama over Oklahoma State. Same with Notre Dame this year. They haven't played anyone at all. Their best win is against a 6-6 Virginia Tech. What does that tell you? So I would not be surprised one bit if Alabama loses by maybe 7 and they still make the playoffs. What do you think, Pete?
I could see it happening. I don't agree with it. Personally, I think the only scenario Alabama should get in is if Oklahoma State loses that Big 12 title game to Baylor. That puts Bama and Baylor both at 2 losses, but I think Bama still edges Baylor in that case. I totally disregard Notre Dame. They shouldn't be allowed to join the playoff until they join a conference, in my opinion.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Well, we have a bunch more to talk about, but we have to wrap it up. So thanks for coming to the round table. I'm here with Pete, here with Dylan. My name's Josh. Thank you.